Hey friends, welcome back to a new episode of Bonsai Stories. Today we have with us Louis Trumpler from Switzerland. Hey Louis, thank you very much for joining. How is going?
Very good. Thanks for having me.
I'm very happy. I'm so excited about this episode, man, because you are such a power user of Bonsai and ISO Potential, and I can't wait to hear your story. So let's start with the beginning. Tell us a few things about yourself before we start talking about nerdy stuff, Bonsai and ISO Potential.
Yeah, sure. Actually, I'll start sharing my screen because then I can get my stuff ready.
Sure.
Um, I can you see Blender now?
Yes, I can see it.
Perfect. Um, I I thought about showing some kind of boring PowerPoint presentation, and then I felt, well, that's not really fitting for the occasion. So I tried something new, and I'll show you something inside of Blender.
Ah, this
Uh,
is crazy. So because I was thinking to but say a few words about you, but actually you put these words about you in Blender. That's crazy.
yes, I have. So yeah,
Uh,
let's go for it.
oh, an
Um,
animation too. Oh my God.
um, Yeah, I'm Louis. This is my company, LT Plus. I work I would say, in the intersection between sustainability, digitalization, but also still timber construction, because that's my background. But yeah, one thing at a time. I've prepared some images, but yeah, we can all learn something today in Blender. Let's hide the floor, like the floor thingy,
Yeah.
and let's also hide maybe the axis. Yeah, here we go. So yeah, I am originally a carpenter. Many years ago, I used to work on timber buildings and boats, as you can see here. And I studied at in Biel at the Bieler Fachhochschule, and that was actually a building that was constructed while I was there. So this is the Swatch building, and it had quite an impact on me, looking back, because I realized, well, there's a huge world out there of like modern timber construction, and that's really interesting to me. So yeah, I spent the last few years working at Wald Galmarini. They are structural engineers here in Zurich, quite a big office. Um, I started as uh, like uh, uh, like an intern, and when I left, I was in charge of quite a lot of the digital construction part. Um, so yeah, I started my own company nearly 2 years ago now, and I do some teaching. I'm still involved in some actual BIM projects where I do like BIM management coordination stuff. But lately, there's been a lot like software development going on. But yeah, I would say I still cover quite a broad spectrum. I do have a hands-on. Oops, let me see. It's not coming back. Never mind. I do have a hands-on background. So the stuff that I develop and that I work on tends to be like around solving some kind of problem. And that's also how I got into Bonsai and also IFC OpenShell. Um, if anything is interesting, feel free to ask, Petru. I don't
Definitely,
mind
definitely, but I don't
if
want
you
to.
interrupt.
Okay,
Yeah,
okay,
no
okay.
worries.
I'll do that. But it's okay. Just go on. It's fine.
Cool. So yeah, mission and vision for my company and also for myself, I would say there is sustainability at heart. I help project teams to lower the embodied emissions of construction projects. And I
How
do
do you
very
do that?
much.
Sorry, I have to jump
Um,
in here. How do you do
yeah,
that?
feel
Because
free.
that's quite a strong statement.
Well, at, as some very wise men used to say, you can't manage what you can't measure. And that's basically where it starts. So we have to find a way to actually measure the environmental impact of our construction projects. And that's where I tend to be able to help project teams to put in place workflows where LCA and sustainability analysis becomes an integral part of
Mhm.
like construction planning.
Are these
And
openBIM workflows or proprietary workflows?
I prefer to work on open stuff. We've been developing the sustainability monitoring for the city of Zurich, where I live, and that's all open source and available on GitHub. Um, and I am working on my thank you. I'm working on my own tools or tool set for sustainability analysis, and yeah, I am open sourcing all of that. I
That's
think
impressive.
it's
Thank you.
pretty
Thank you very
important.
much for everything you do. That's
No
impressive.
worries. Um, I'm I'm actually not only doing that because I think it's the right thing from like a perspective of yeah, how should I say, like um I the main thing for me when it comes to sustainability tools is transparency and being able to compare different tools and actually see how they work.
Hmm.
And I feel very strongly that there needs to be trust involved. And from personal experience, trust comes with transparency. And at least for me personally, I believe that open source is a great way to get there.
Yeah, I, that's very commendable. I'll be honest. I don't think enough people think like that. So yeah, kudos to you, man. Really appreciate it.
Thank you. And yeah, the whole thing around open data follows quite a similar pattern. I even think of the IFC schema as open data because it is freely accessible on the web for everyone. We can look things up and it's not closed behind like a paywall or anything like that. Um, so yeah, that's I would say
Hmm.
those things are at the core of what I do and what I like to do. But yeah, a bit more hands-on. Um, actually, that's kind of a bummer. Those pics.
Why?
Let me try. I don't know.
There are some images that are not showing up, or what exactly?
Yeah,
Ah, well, it happens. No worries.
let me
Is
try reopening.
hmm, you can do that. Oh,
Never mind. It will get back. No worries. I was sure that there are gonna be some hiccups.
if I like something about this, and it's a lot that I like, but the size of the projects, man, like that's something 3 kilobytes, 5 kilobytes.
Oh yeah, yeah, definitely. Um, but yeah, let me open.
There we go.
Yeah, never mind. I was gonna show
It's some bad
some project
references.
pics.
Uh-huh.
Yeah.
Okay. It's okay.
Um, but yeah, I do still work on some pretty large scale projects. not always involving Blender, but especially like when I when I do beam coordination and when I have to like work with different models, I
Mhm.
do like to involve Blender.
That's amazing.
Let's see. Yeah, some stuff is loading. I do work on some stuff that's not, I would say, inside Blender, but that's like adjacent to it.
Hmm.
Um, I've put a QR code so people can try it out if they want to. You can
Ah,
scan it
so
with your
to
phone.
get to an app.
It's a live
Okay.
it's a live site, and
Oh, wait, let me try. Let me
it's
see if
like
this works.
Inception inside Blender.
Hack LT plus
Yeah,
CH. Okay,
there you
so
go.
what do we do here when I have to load the model? Do you have
You
any
can
models in the library or I have to upload one myself?
you can upload one yourself. It stays on the client side. There's no
Okay,
backend or anything like that. And what it does is it basically performs ray tracing. Um,
okay.
Ray tracing is this concept where you can find out where there's like adjacent stuff or even like clashes. And this is like for the timber industry.
Uh-huh.
So they can, it was part of a hackathon, but it's built around like finding the intersections between different model parts,
Oh,
because those are actually quite interesting for the timber industry because then they have to on the construction site, they have to connect these two
mm-hmm.
things. So there's usually cost involved and they
How
have
do
to
you find
schedule
that?
stuff.
Are you using IFC OpenShell, IFC Clash for that?
No, actually here it's like fully JavaScript
Ah,
and this is based on the web IFC parser, which is part of that open company.
okay, that's cool.
So it's like their way to get IFC models into 3JS. And
Mm-hmm.
what we see here is 3JS,
Mm-hmm.
the JavaScript 3D library
Okay,
for the
okay.
web.
Are
And
you are
it
you using fragments as well? Or no, not yet?
I haven't really gotten my feet wet there.
Okay.
Um, but yeah, I've been involved with with thinking around that concept,
Mm-hmm.
um, with having like huge models in the browser. So yeah, definitely a lot of interesting things going on around there.
That's great.
Um, so yeah, I think it just shows how IFC can be very universally used and basically agnostic of like any tool. So I feel like it really empowers the users to use the best tools and to not just be like just use whatever you've used your whole life.
Yeah, well, it's
Um,
easy for an advanced user like you to say that. How many years do you have since you discovered these tools and since you started to play around with them?
um, I would say the last probably 8 years has been quite a steep learning curve. But then again, everything is freely accessible. There's
Yeah,
many nice people in our community that make YouTube tutorials and stuff. Um, so if you're into that sort of thing, I believe it's a great time to be alive.
yeah, it's much easier
Because
nowadays. Much easier
yep,
nowadays with all these things and yeah, training like Bonsai Bootcamp, which helps you to get there in few months, in few weeks, if you show
exactly.
up. So, so you say something interesting. 8 years, like, did you start using IFC OpenShell before Bonsai has was published by Dion?
Um, yes, actually, I started using IFC OpenShell before I used Bonsai or Blender, as it used to be
Mm-hmm.
called. And I at first Blender, um, was mostly like, yeah, like a user interface for IFC OpenShell for me. Um, but that has changed quite a lot,
Oh,
especially since I don't work at Wald Galmarini anymore, um, where I don't just have access to all the licenses.
okay.
Let me share my screen.
Okay. Don't forget this idea. It's important to continue it.
Never mind. Yeah, Blender has crashed.
Yeah, well, part of the
Um,
the life.
so yeah, I like at Wald Calmarini, they have all the shiny BIM tools and all the licenses.
Hmm.
But yeah, for myself, I think it's quite nice to have free tools actually that are free to use. Um, yeah, we were here, and I've started using Blender more, and I've actually used it or I started modeling stuff with it.
In Blender,
Um,
or you mean bonsai mostly?
in Bonsai, um, I'll show it.
Mhm.
So yeah, just a few more slides.
Sure.
I've built the model checker. Um, Model
IDS.
Checker uses IFC OpenShell and is also freely available on the web.
I can't wait to
Um,
dive into these things, man. You have no idea. I can't wait. I'm so
there's like a,
excited.
there's like a basic check that doesn't use IDS, and
Yeah.
it has checks that wouldn't be possible with IDS
Mhm.
actually.
Mhm.
But
Let,
then
let me ask you
there's
one thing, Luis. Sorry for interrupting. This is important. Like, how people can know like that you are saying the truth. That if they upload their models, how can somebody check if a tool is actually using only the front end and not actually sending any data to servers or something like that?
and it's I would say that's pretty easy if you
Is
know how
easy?
to. Yeah, you can just do a right click in the browser and
Okay.
then you open like the developer console. It's
Yeah.
usually like the lowest button in the right click.
Okay.
And then you go to the network tab and you click on like upload IFC and then you see if anything gets like sent out
Aha.
or if it just
Okay.
stays on your machine.
Just wanted to
Um,
clarify that to make sure that yeah, so people know how to check that, because maybe people don't believe that, and they might be, yeah, I don't want to share this data. This guy is lying to me or something like that.
I mean, you could dive into the source code. It's all freely available on GitHub. But yeah, I guess developer console and the network tab is actually quite a
Top.
lot easier. Um, the thing around working with IFC is I I've built quite a lot of different tools and I never save any IFC data simply because it's just too expensive. Your users
Oh,
will upload gigabytes of gigabytes and it's going to be really expensive on the server side to actually like
uh-huh.
keep all that stuff. And wherever your servers are, like Amazon is gonna send you a big bill at the end of the month.
Okay,
Um,
okay, makes sense.
so yeah, I doubt that anyone is like actively saving models. But
Hmm.
yeah, always good to check. And I would say with open source tools, you can even have a look at the source code. Uh,
Yeah, for who knows how to do that? Come on, like not like that's not so straightforward for beginners, for people who don't have something
agreed,
to do with the coding background. Or yeah,
agreed. So yeah, what you see here might be similar because this uses IFC OpenShell.
IC tester, I see that every day, man.
IFC tester. You can generate the HTML report, have a look at it on the web, maybe send it to a coworker or what else. Or you can download the BCF and have a look
Oh,
at that. So this is like for users that cannot open Bonsai,
Uh-huh.
but would still like to use IFC
Two
tester.
questions. Uh, that BCF will also work in other tools, and the other one, so I
Yep.
don't forget, um, do you also have any analytics? Like, would be possible to add a new tab in your app, for example, about some analytics on the report? Something visual with some dashboards, maybe with something quick that can put together, like from instead of seeing all the issues and so on, like a quick report, you know? Did you thought
Yeah,
about this? Because I think that would be very, very cool to get a good overview over what's happening there instead of just seeing like a table.
agreed. Like some visual like
Like Power BI,
indicators.
like Power BI
Yeah.
exactly, but in the
Yep.
right there and then without Power BI
Yeah.
because yeah.
I mean, the options are pretty much endless, I would say, because the developers of IFC OpenShell are very generous in providing different outputs from the actual like testing results.
Mhm, mhm.
So yes, definitely. And yeah, the BCF are I keep forgetting what version I implemented. Um,
So this is not the one that is coming from Bonsai. Who is creating this BCF report? Like which tool? It's also IFC OpenShell?
IFC OpenShell, yes.
Okay,
Um,
and okay, that's good.
but you
You say
can
that it,
even
it can be
work
open in Solibri or BIM Collab Zoom or something like
exactly,
that.
exactly. Yes. So yeah, that's model checker. I'll also quickly show the QR code for those who want to load it. Maybe pause or whatever. Um, and yeah, I would say standing on the shoulders of giants is like a good phrase here because this was done or this project was sponsored by a Swiss company, and this wouldn't have been possible if we would have had to develop all from scratch.
That's the
So
beautiful part
it's
of open source, man. And that's
exactly
why I appreciate that you also you share these things. Yeah,
take and give back, I would say.
there are
Um,
many people, unfortunately, who just take, not even recognizing that they take. I don't want to be negative or something like that, but it happens.
Yeah, I am aware of that. What I'm also aware of is that I'm in a pretty fortunate position. So I do feel like I can share stuff. I can even, for the most part, decide on what I'm working on. And so yeah, I like to
Mhm.
share if I can.
That's amazing. Thank you. What
Yeah,
do we see
last
here?
slide. Um, I'll actually show how I modeled this. That was a project for the Swiss timber industry, and those are many different facade types. I wasn't aware of it, but those facade profiles
Hmm.
they are standardized, and they have like 150 profiles or something like that. That actually correspond to like a physical tool that can make this shape out of wood that is in the factories in
Uh-huh.
Switzerland. And so the Swiss timber industry actually Lignum, they're called Lignum, this organization.
Hmm.
They have like this online catalog of this data, and they asked me if it would be possible to have like digital facade, like
Representations of their
exactly,
facades. Yeah.
exactly. And they also wanted to have like nice pictures of the section cut.
Hmm.
Um, and I immediately knew that this would definitely be possible with Bonsai.
Bonsai
And
easy. Piece of cake.
I made them a good offer because I also knew that I would be able to automate it
Hmm.
quite a lot. So yeah, we produced like 150 highly accurate facade models that can be downloaded on like their web page now.
That's
They
amazing.
have like a huge catalog. And the follow-up project it isn't really progressing, but that's okay. I'm I keep thinking about it. It's like to have a 3D viewer where architects and owners can like look at the facade, and then we have this drop down where we have like a fake weathering effect. It doesn't really look good here, but the concept would be to have like to be able to see what your facade will look like in 10 years. And
Ah,
then there's like different ways to treat the surface, and those treatments have quite a high or have an impact on how it's gonna look like in 10 years. So
hmm.
it's quite cool what you can actually visualize there.
I see.
Um, but yeah, more for like the architects or the visually
Uh-huh.
inclined people. So
Makes
yeah,
sense.
um, I I feel like I'm already showing stuff for too long. Let's jump into some actual projects. And what I wanted to show was first how I created these facade models actually.
Uh, it crashed again, I guess, and also the screen share it stops automatically, I guess.
It does.
It's okay. Um, yeah, but while you are starting this and so on, like, what do you think about who do you think bonsai could be useful for in AEC industry? Who could use bonsai?
Um, I feel like there's a pretty broad spectrum actually. Starting with the owners might be a bit counterintuitive, but having a free tool is 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 actually worth a lot if you don't work with BIM every day. And there is like some I like to call them serial builders because they build one project after another.
Hmm.
But then again, most owners are not building multiple projects.
No,
And if they want to use BIM, then yeah, having like accessible open software, I think is worth gold. Um, then again, I start to see more adoption in like the classical AE architects and engineers. But yeah, as we all know, our industry is kind of slow to adapt. Um, where the benefits are very clear even
hmm.
today, I would say, is around management and coordination. I as much as I like modeling in Blender, what I'm showing now is not like an everyday job, even for me. I'm not doing this every day. I'd like to. So yeah, we see here quite a mess of hundreds of timber profiles. Um, that's how I got them. They have like PDFs and stuff. Um, and they wanted to have like highly accurate representations. So I wasn't going to remodel everything, um, but I realized that what we are looking at here is a profile, and IFC has this concept of profiles. So if we have like a steel beam it can have different underlying profiles,
Hmm.
different IFC profiles that give like the shape. And I realized, well, how are these timber facades different from steel beams? They are not.
No.
And they should use the same approach.
Approach, yeah.
So I realized that Actually, I I wasn't able to do it like with pure Bonsai BIM tools. Maybe because I didn't dig deep enough, but I think it doesn't actually exist. So I wrote a script, and the script basically it converts like these curves into extrusions. And then I also created like arrays of these different of these extrusion elements,
Mhm,
so that in the end I was able to generate like those timber facades pretty much automatically, but still with like with some light afterwork.
mhm, mhm,
Um, I also I think it's cool that you can actually have like add-ins in Blender. So I also started to have like an add-in for that so that I don't have to run the script each time. And basically, what I then get after some after some more work
mhm,
is basically these facade parts, and they consist of different like claddings. And what I would like to show here is that I think it's really beautiful how the IFC schema has like these concepts that then get applied in Blender and in Bonsai. And one of those is an array. Um, so that's actually an array,
inside, in the IFC schema. It's quite crazy, man. That's
and you
crazy.
can edit it. So if I go here and I make like the array, let's put it on 17, then you
Wow.
can see how the array happens. And I could save that as a new IFC now. It would be perfectly valid.
Hmm.
And as you can see, I opened the IFC project because I
Yeah.
saved them as IFC, and then I can just open them from here,
Hmm.
and I have those facades, all arrays. Arrays can go in multiple direction, so
Oh,
that's
so
how you
here you
can.
have only one profile that you arrayed in
Yeah,
in two directions? For
that's
real?
the IFC way. It should
Wow.
only be one profile, and that should be referenced. Those
Wow.
files are really light.
Yeah, but I think this sounds amazing in practice, theoretically at least. But this works when you use Bonsai as an IFC tool, as an IFC
Yep,
authoring tool, right? Or an IFC open shell. It like you cannot expect this if you just export from other tool. I don't
yep,
think that there exists any other tool which comes even close to emulate it. They are emulating the IFC schema and supporting the IFC schema to that degree that you can do. You can export like an array.
yep. That's an excellent segue into the next topic I prepared.
Oh,
Um,
okay.
and that's like around, don't worry, it's the last one. It's around like BIM coordination and management. I unfortunately can't show any like live models, but I do like to work with the BIM collab ones. I don't know if you know them. You can
Yeah.
download them. And I quite like it because those are real models from Revit, and you
Aha.
can actually see some, yeah, you can see some stuff there. Um,
Okay.
and like,
That's not an insult on being collab, okay? That's just
oh
like it
no,
is.
no, that's just the way it is, and I think it's good that it's like that because if you work with sample models and they are like perfect, I think it's a bit critical because usually in our industry, nothing is perfect when it comes to IFC, especially. So
Yeah.
yeah, um,
You are a very
what?
elegant way of putting out things, man. I'll give you that. Very friendly way. You are a true
Uh,
diplomat, unlike me.
why I like one reason why I like to use Bonsai is and even why I started using it even more is because traditional BIM viewers have like some limitations. And again, not to talk down on anyone,
Mhm.
but for example, um, in BIM Collab, they aggregate the type objects. So, for example, if you have duplicate types in the IFC file, they think that the user shouldn't see that, and
Oh,
they have like logic that breaks it down, and it will only show you like a nice type as if everything was perfect. And when I work like with government clients, they have very high requirements, and they expect that stuff like this doesn't happen in the IFC files.
yeah, because this is
Um,
only in the front end. What you see in Bin Collab is just on the front end. Is not actually modifying the IFC model. It's just presenting it to you this way, right?
exactly. And the problem is, um, in my role, I'm not always the author. So when I find stuff like that, I have to communicate it. And when I can't tell the architect, or when I have to tell him, well, you won't be able to see it in BIM Collab and in Solibri, also not really. Uh, then yeah, you see where this
You
is
really
going.
have to get them to install Bonsai and so that they can see it, right?
Or
But I know that doesn't work. I know.
at least I can screen share and I can show them the problem and explain them
Yeah,
here and then go through the IFC schema with them.
yeah.
But
Do they
yeah,
manage to fix it after that? Do they manage to take care of that at the export?
if they don't, then I do.
Then you have to use the
But
IFC patch. IFC patch
yeah,
merge duplicate types.
I was
That,
gonna show that exactly. But I don't like to do stuff without telling them because I
yeah, I
think they
agree.
should know that somebody did something to their file.
Yeah,
They
also
should get
contractually, also
and they should get
contractually,
like the option to, or they should at least know what they're doing wrong
I
and
agree.
be able to like get better. And don't, then also we do have to put some pressure on the authoring
Improving.
tools.
Yeah, 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 that's true
So I
also.
like to always give feedback
Mhm.
back to
That's a
them.
great mindset, man. I admire that. That's good. That's the right way to do things. I completely agree.
So yeah, I open the outliner when I get new models. Actually, when I get new models, I like to check like some basic stuff. I usually open the outliner, then I do Shift A, because then I can
Twice.
collapse everything. Yeah,
Uh-huh. But you don't like how it's presented in the
it takes me a lot of time
you feel it's a
to
bit quicker
close
to do this.
everything.
No, no, no. I mean like I mean the Bonsai user interface. If you look on the right-hand side, yeah, in the spatial decomposition in Bonsai,
Yeah, but I
it's a
like
bit
to
quicker through this, right? You feel that it's a
I
bit
like to
quicker.
have a look at like at cost at properties and stuff.
Mm-hmm.
So I have to see like what's on the IFC building,
Yeah.
what's on the site, etc. Maybe
Mm-hmm.
add stuff there, and I think that's really cool inside Bonsai.
Mm-hmm. What is a bit now? Uh, what might be a bit misleading, but you definitely know this now, is that there is no like a proper spatial decomposition in the select in this with the scenes anymore, right? You see, you have the IFC project and the collection in the same level. You see, this used to
Yeah,
be different before, but
yeah,
they decided to just keep this as a normal as working in Blender. Just have all these things, but at the same level while building the user interface on the right hand side for Bonsai.
I
But yeah,
quite like it.
yeah, yeah, it's very strong, and you actually can do the same things, but it requires you few more clicks. You know, you can click
Yeah,
on that, you can select the beam, and you can
yeah,
even select the space and see the properties and everything. So I like how you also have the user interface. That's exactly how I also have it at work. I have to add the bottom screen. What I don't like here, I think that I would have liked in a way sometimes maybe this scene collection part, like the outliner.
Yeah,
it's also long, you know. So I would have preferred maybe like have it also vertically, but then you end up with a bit too little in the middle for the model space, you know. I know you can do that, I know. But
I sometimes switch.
yeah,
Um,
yeah. But
but
you
yeah,
want the information as well. The information tab sometimes has
true.
a lot of information, and that's what I like to have it all the time. One window, one vertical window panel to see all the information always, and the other one to have like exactly how you have to browse to project overview and all the other tabs. And
Yeah.
yeah, that one there. I don't use too much the outliner, but it's useful in this kind of situations. Yeah, yeah. Especially for
And
people
this
who have
has,
used Blender.
yeah, and this has only 3 floors. I
Yeah,
work on models with 28, 30 floors.
yeah, yeah, yeah. So Shift
Um,
A, you said Shift A to
I
collapse
do
and
Shift A because it expands all, and then I do Shift A again, then it collapses all.
okay.
That's just how
Yeah, yeah.
I.
That's good. That's good.
And yeah, what I wanted to show here was, yeah, we do have some duplicate types. Um, so my first thought was, well, they mirrored them in Revit. So I ran IFC patch.
Mhm.
I think it's really cool that you can
You can use these
run
scripts,
like some
the
recipes.
yeah,
Yeah,
yeah. But
exactly.
tell me something, would it be possible to use also this to run your personal patch or something like that? Or like you mentioned that you had to create your extension to be able to run some specific things that you want to do yourself?
Actually, this one, assign constituent fractions, that's from me. I
Ah,
wrote that, and
okay.
I merged it, or I asked Dion to
Ah, so
merge it into IFC OpenShell.
you can do that.
Of course,
Mhm.
yeah, open source.
Yeah, but if you don't want to wait for the for it to be approved and stuff like that,
Yeah,
like
you
uh,
can create your own, put it like into the right spot,
extension,
and then you can use it here.
and
Um,
can you have this extension to use Bonsai, or it has to be completely separate, just having a Python script?
no, you can do both,
Uh-huh.
with or without Bonsai. Yep.
Okay, because Bonsai or IFC OpenShell, right? Because I think yeah.
Um, yeah, it's actually Bonsai and then IFC OpenShell. Yeah,
Hmm.
exactly. And IFC tester and whatever.
Yeah, whatever library, yeah,
Yeah.
or utility, whatever is the most appropriate to call it.
So I actually did that already, and I've patched that. And what I wanted to show was I find it really interesting that because if you then go in and you hide like all the project elements, and then you can show like the type
With the type
products
product, yeah.
exactly. Let me do it like this. Let me hide the model.
I think you hidden the project itself, so that's why they got hidden.
Uh, Possibly. And I now we see the types, and we can see that, oh, actually, because at first I thought,
Mhm.
well, it didn't do it all the way because I thought we still have two, but then I realized, yeah, one is square, and the other
One is
one, of
a
course,
circular
is the circular.
cylinder.
So you can even go like into the geometry of the
Hmm.
different type objects here, which I
Hmm.
find really cool.
But I see we still there see there limestone wall 100, 01, 02, 03. Aren't
Yeah.
those similar? They are
Um,
different, maybe have different geometry and just
I
a bland
think
name.
they do have different geometry. Exactly. That was my assumption as well. Um, if we open the architectural version of this model,
Has maybe a few hundred. Oh no, this is the one from BIM Collab.
yeah, exactly. They have like different like
Ah,
disciplines
that's
for
true.
this model.
This was the
That's
same
why I
model, just
like
the
it.
other one was structural and this is the architectural one, yeah.
Exactly. And here also we can see that, yeah, it does have quite a lot of, but those are like panels.
Hmm.
What I also like to use is like the color by property. So
Oh,
I
I
go in
love that
here
one. My
and
favorite
I
thing
do
to do
like
first time. By
object
class,
type
by
or
properties,
something.
by
Yeah, whatever.
also by class, because sometimes, but yeah,
Exactly. Um,
uh,
but you can do whatever you want,
hmm.
description. Yep, nothing.
This you got everything the same because it's yeah, I think where you have object type, you can just type in class with low case, and
Yep,
that's something like default, I think.
I think you can go like custom
Yeah,
and then you can
like this.
do,
Yeah,
yeah,
this is the first thing I do all the time,
yep.
and I immediately see easy to spot the building proxies and go through them. Um, mm,
One more thing we can see here is that we get like the axis and we get like all the information on the axis that this is number 5 and it runs in the same sense as the others. Um, so yeah,
ah, yeah. But like, is this shown in Bonsai in BIM Collab Zoom as well?
I'm actually not sure. I think it's shown in Solibri, but I believe in
Okay,
BIMcollab it's not.
maybe not. Maybe not
Uh,
supporting IFC grid access. Okay.
I'm not sure, to
Okay.
be honest. And yeah, I only have one last note, and that is another favorite of like the BIM coordinator, I would say, and that is I would say a bit hidden in the debug.
Yeah, the geometry
Um,
stuff. See high
Select
polygon.
highest polygon meshes,
Yeah. To see
and then you
which
can
things.
see.
Yeah.
Yeah, you can see that there's, if I do like
Shift
Shift
H.
H,
Yeah.
I can see that there's some
See.
furniture.
Yeah, these things are
Um,
getting the most space in the model. So most of the time, they are also irrelevant for the build from a building point of view, right?
exactly. And what I like to do is to go to like 50%,
Yeah. Or
um, and select what's there. And then it's interesting that we still only have we
yeah,
still only have like furniture and
and
railings.
yeah.
Two
Yeah,
objects
it's usually
make
tubes,
like the
tubes because they have the geometry in IFC. It's a bit it has too many lines and points, vertices
exactly.
and so on.
So this means like
Because I think they are not parametric IFC objects. They might be in the tool, but when they get exported, I think they get as meshes
yeah,
or B-reps or something else. I think I could be wrong.
definitely true. And if you look at
Yeah,
this
you
thing
can see
here,
already. Yeah, and it's one object. The whole yeah. This is not amazing. I think.
and now we know how these things should be built. Because
Mm-hmm.
if we think back to the profiles, that's exactly the same thing. These are like extruded profiles, and then it should have one type for like the round thingy, and every other instance should just reuse that.
That's easy
And
to
then it would
do
be
when you
really
do it
like
native ISC, right? But when you get it, for real, I have no idea how this would work if you export from another tool. I don't know how that would work. I think that would need quite an advanced customization level, but I'm not sure even if it's possible. If it's possible
agreed.
to custom to this degree so that you get it properly in IFC geometry and so on. I'm not sure. It might be possible. I don't know.
I think sometimes you can have like an impact in like trying to model cleanly and to like use the correct like authoring tools, like the correct tools that Revit offers you for family
Hmm.
creation and stuff, and same in like ArchiCAD. But then again, you're still at the mercy of the tool when it
Yeah.
comes to IFC export.
Yeah.
Um, yep.
Interesting. Very interesting. So, What I've seen so far, like you show some use cases of modeling, but I've seen more like from a point of view of auditing, validating, checking the models.
Yep.
Bonsai is an amazing tool. Even if you are using BIM Collab, Zoom, or Solibri, you can still get a lot of value from using Bonsai because compared to the other tools, they are more effective, they are quick, you get the support and all the things. But Bonsai shows you exactly how the information it is. You don't make any confusion when it comes to IFC schema. You see
Yep.
exactly everything, and you see the extra things that the other tools not support, like the profile stuff and this like types. And let's not even talk about 4D and 5D information, which is also if you
Yep.
want to go crazy like we do in our bonsai bootcamp with these kind of things, right? You, by the way, did you ever use IFC OpenShell or did you ever dealt with timing and scheduling?
Um, Not really.
Not really. No.
I've looked at it, and I see how tools are starting to adopt like IFC task and stuff, and building your schedule from the model, having like visualization and stuff.
Yeah.
A lot of potential there.
Hmm.
Um, just one more thought
Yeah.
back to what you said around having bonsai with like this ability to audit. I fully agree. Um, but isn't it amazing that the same tool can be used to model like
From
highly
scratch.
precision stuff
Hmm.
perfectly in accordance with IFC schema,
It
that
is.
it can be used to even create animations like on an industry standard level,
Yeah.
not like some
Mm.
um, beginners tool. But I would say it's amazing that how like the spectrum that Blender and especially Bonsai covers is truly amazing.
I definitely agree. I definitely agree. At the same time, let's not hide this. It's not so easy to learn how to model. So it's much easier to get starting with auditing, looking at models, than to just starting an authoring part. When you start on that, you have to be more patient. You have to have more to not rush it, right? And not give up at the first obstacle you are going to find because you are going to go through many obstacles. You are going to get many errors, especially if you want to, if you deal with drawings, you are going to be frustrated. But at the same time, these things are improving all the time. And yeah, like you can get help. You can ask people. There are so many people more than happy to do that. And if you, there are many things you can do. But yeah, it's a bit different than just using to open models and look at them and so on and coordinate. Like that's why I always recommend like, hey guys, if you don't have to, like if your priority is not to replace Revit, again, like I don't know how that would work in a larger practice. For individual people, individual companies, it's possible. I know we have two in our bootcamp. There are three actually. And there are more people interested in that. It's possible, but it's not easy, right? So that's why I always recommend start easy, get used with the user interface with Bonsai, what it can do and so on, looking at models and how IFC schema works and so on, and then build on that, right? So that you don't give up. What you have here, you have a gift.
I That's like my last thing that I wanted to end with. As I've heard, or let's start like this. Let's not take these initiatives for granted.
Mm.
I think it's amazing that people put so much work into this, and keep like developing, and keep like maintaining a community. It does take some money.
Oh, yeah, it
And
takes a lot of time. Like the money here, it's just a little level that very few people
exactly.
see. I think that the invisible amount of money that is not here, it's like 10 times, if not much more than that, through other kind of efforts. So what we see here is just a little bit, but yeah, it adds up and it has increased a lot, but it still has to get to a bit higher to be able to hire that second developer to make the
I
things moving for quicker.
It's actually a bit misleading, because as I've heard, um, finances at IFC OpenShell are not too rosy, I would say.
No.
It's like like the money in the bank is actually going down, and it would be a lot lower if Dion would have cashed out his bounty for the wall layers.
Oh, he
So
didn't do
thanks a
that?
lot. No, he
Okay.
didn't. He left it in there.
How much
So
is
thanks a
that? Do you
lot,
know how much,
Dion.
what is that amount?
I'm not sure, but several thousands. I think three and a
Yeah.
half, four.
Yeah, I think it's like that because we had also Bruno Perdigao
Yep.
as a full-time dev for a few months, and
Yep.
with the hope that we are going to get to a point where we can be two. But yeah, we can see. Yeah, scroll down. Like, yeah, guys, like
Yeah,
if you get to use these tools, yeah,
I would encourage everyone who, of course, feels like he's able to
yeah.
support the initiative.
Everyone can do that, like five, $10 a month. That makes a big difference. It doesn't have to be like you. If you look at me there, like let me brag a bit, right? You see there, organizations at the top, the second one. Um, and that's a part of the because I also donated for OSARC. So I think I'm close to 8,000 euros in total. I see Cyril
Yep.
is still over me. Cyril, if you watch this, I'm going to take you. I'm going to take you over soon, man. Like this is like BIMvoice has to become the largest sponsor of Bonsai soon,
Getting a
sooner
battle
rather than
started.
later.
Yeah, I'm
You
in the
are
middle
there, man.
field, I
Yeah,
would say.
but you are contributing with other things as well, just by promoting. This is also something else that no one can quantify. Like how many people have discovered Bonsai or IFC
Yep.
OpenShell or use the tool and they get here. Like that's also very important. That's how more and more people are joining, right? But again, like
Yep.
it's part of the mission. It's part of the mission. So yeah, guys, like I said, you don't have like I know like almost everyone in the whole world can afford to donate like $5 a month, especially if you do something with this tool or if you plan to, right? Because it makes a big difference. Like Bonsai has become so much more reliable, the user interface and so on. So it's getting actually close to like to beta version soon. From my own point of view, like for BIM coordination, it works almost 100%. Like so much you can do. There are a few things that are not I didn't explore so much, but yeah, everything you do manually and so on, and also for modeling, like there are people running architectural practices just
Yep.
using this tool. It's amazing, right? It's amazing. So yeah, very grateful for that. Do you have a message for everyone watching here? Like, why did you show this image, this website?
I just feel like it's important that people don't take it for granted, and those that feel like they can contribute, be it
Mhm.
financially or, as you said, like reporting issues and bugs, so
Yeah,
like spreading the
there are
word.
many ways to contribute. Yeah, if you don't have the money, no, like you can leave a comment, you can like a post when somebody shares something about these tools, and that also benefits, right? Like reporting, like this has been a big part of yeah, I think it is very important. Many of the things that you see there they are because they are developed and improved through feedback. So yeah, there are many important ways there. Yeah. Well, this sounds very good, Louis. I really enjoy this, and I can't wait to learn more because I feel that we scratched the surface of some things. We saw some things, but I would like to learn more, man. So I think I would like to learn more about the sustainability aspect, like what could like from some like I don't deal around a lot with sustainability. I would like to learn
Yep.
more like how should I approach this? I know you have this tool, open source tool. We could have a look at that maybe sometime. Um, maybe you have some more tools, I guess, right? You didn't show your website where you have more tools,
Yep.
right? Um,
And we can dive into like the IFC aspects around sustainability,
mhm.
materials, but also BSDD when it comes to properties
Yeah.
and stuff. Yeah,
Yeah. So
let's do
guys,
that.
leave a comment with which topic would you like to see next? Because I'm going to do a follow-up with Louis because this is very interesting stuff, and I really appreciate him taking the time to join me to share this and hopefully to inspire you. How many like is that a real background? You have a collection of keyboards?
Ah, yeah, that's real.
Yeah.
Wait,
What is
wait,
happening
God.
with them? They disappoint you and or they are just reserved
Uh,
replacements for
no,
your existing ones.
I like to switch. I have more than one in front of me.
Ah, okay. So you just deposit them there. When you're done
I
with it,
like to
that's your
switch.
junkyard, keyboard junkyard. That's
If you ask my
amazing.
kids, what would dad like for birthday, they
A
reply,
new keyboard,
"Can you
eh?
give him a keyboard?"
Okay, what's your favorite? Is the one there is one global stuff that I see a lot of people are talking about, programmers. Do you have that one or which one do you have?
Actually I started using like the split keyboard, which is like a bit crazy, because then you have your hands like
Uh-huh.
not so cramped together. Um,
And do you like it? Is it good?
I like it, but I'm not as fast at the moment.
You feel that you are
So
not as effective. So it's new.
sometimes I switch back and I
Yeah,
go
you need the
like to the
numpad. You need the numpad or why?
no, I
No?
no, I never have a numpad.
Okay. You use
So this is
shortcuts for
also like
numpad. Okay. Yeah.
um
Okay. Yeah. But are they mechanical? All of them are mechanical,
yes.
and they
Yeah.
make a lot of noise, right? So you can't really, yeah, you have your own office, so you don't wake up your kids when they go to sleep or something like that, right?
When everyone's asleep, I take the quieter one.
Ah, okay, for
That
real,
that's
because it can
yeah.
it can make so much noise.
Yeah,
Okay.
of course they're
Yeah,
loud.
yeah, yeah, yeah. Because I was so excited. I also had the mechanical one. I just used it a bit because it was so annoying. Like I could hear it like outside on the street. But so I
You
gave
can't
up on
use
it.
them like in a big office. Your coworkers are gonna
Oh,
hate
that
you.
would be a problem. Yeah, 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 yeah. So I ended up with this. I have a Logitech one, a
Yep,
silent one. It's very silent. I
nice.
can
Yep.
I can like it works and it's wireless. Yeah. Yeah. Okay. Amazing stuff, Louis. Very nice. Thank you again. Thank you so much for this.
Thank you.
Um, really looking forward to our next chat. Let's see when we can do that, and I'll publish
Yep.
this as soon as I can, and I'll let you know.
Cool.
Thank you so much,
Thank
everyone,
you.
for joining. Thank you so much for taking the time and for all your support, and see you around.